Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar today. My name is Kelly Sendek, and I'm a marketing manager for Unique Venues, and I'm also the moderator for this webinar. I'm joined by Mark Williams today. He is the Director of Operations for Event Guru Software, and he will be our presenter for today's session. Just some housekeeping items before we get started. This session is being recorded and I'll be sending it out later this afternoon to everyone who registered for this webinar. Also, if you have any questions as we go along, go ahead and write them in the chat and we will answer those for you. The topic for this webinar is simplifying venue operations with smarter event management software. We will be covering all the ways that this platform, Event Guru Software, makes your life easier with event management. And with that, I will hand it over to Mark so he can get this presentation started.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for the great introduction, and thank you to everybody that's joining us today. As Kelly said, we have an agenda that we're going to kind of go through. I figured I'd kind of talk about that, and then we'll jump right into it. So ideally, what we wanted to start with is a little bit of background about the company. I thought it would be helpful for everybody to know kind of who we are and where we've come from and where we're going. We're going to talk about some of the pain points that I think everyone is dealing with right now. And then we're going to get into the specifics of some of the workflows of the software to show you examples of how we can help increase efficiencies and save you time when you're using our application. And then we'll wrap things up at the end to answer any questions that you have, and also just talk about what might be some next steps and some specials that we're running that I think could be of value to everyone. So a little bit about the company. Event Guru's software has been around since 2014. And the mission and why we sort of started this journey was to build an affordable one-stop shop system for event managers, conference professionals, and planners with the goal to help them get the most out of their business. And that's always been kind of our driving force. We've come a long way in what is a very short amount of time. 10 years goes by pretty quickly. I've been with the company since 2016, and we've seen a lot of changes along the way. And so the problem that we solve when it comes to our application is eliminating what I like to call administrative gridlock and the headaches through what is a software as a service. That's what our platform is, and it helps event professionals focus more time on growing their business and less on the day-to-day grind. So of the services that we offer, we're primarily going to be focusing on Event Guru software today, but we do also offer a registration platform as well for any venues that would be interested in offering what I would call a value-added service to register attendees, or if you do any type of ticketing at your venue or campus. So something to keep in mind if you would like to take a deeper dive on that. Definitely reach out to us. I start here on our website primarily because this is kind of a good starting point for you if you're just learning about us. And then it also gives you the opportunity to reach out to us here at the top. Where you can kind of reach out and book a conversation with us later down the road. So without further ado, let's kind of get into some of the key things that we were going to get into today. And that is, we did send out a poll to everybody that's participating or signed up to sit through the demo. And the question was, what are you looking for in a software solution for your venue or campus? And we essentially had 4 options that are here. And so we did have a few folks respond to the poll, and I don't know if I'm surprised necessarily by the response, but it looks like of the people that did respond, there was a tie between automating contracting and billing, which we'll definitely take a look at today. We'll also talk about our solution as a one-stop shop. So that looks like there are a few people that were interested in that. And then we did have one response that had to do with streamlined scheduling, which we will also take a look at that as well. I guess what I was surprised by that no one really was interested in improving communication. I said to Kelly earlier that probably just means you've had that figured out, which is pretty awesome. So good for you guys. But communication does come into the picture when we get into the application. So we'll talk about that. So one other thing I wanted to point out is kind of what makes us different. So there are a lot of other software companies that are out there, and really I think that in simple terms, we're not just a software company. We really are dedicated to be a business partner, and that we're fully invested in what our customer success is. And that really starts from the very first point of us having communication with somebody that's interested right down through to the relationship, hopefully lasting a very long time. And so we're looking for how we can help you again maximize the resources that you have. The fact of the matter is everything's limited, and we totally understand kind of what you're going through. So a couple of the pain points that we typically hear when we're, let's say, out at a show or through conversations that we have with our customers is that it's that mantra of the you have to do more with less. I think everybody probably can relate to that these days. We see a lot of folks that are out there juggling multiple systems that are disconnected. So it really is a drain on efficiency and resources. We're also seeing the pressure to increase business is continuing to build every year. And again, I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. The other thing is the back and forth that we tend to hear about when you're working with your customers. You know, how can you improve that? How can you reduce the amount of emails that you are sending to your customers and kind of waiting for them to respond? We have ways to help you in making sure that that process is more efficient as well. So those are some of the things that we're talking about. Feel free to put in the chat maybe some of the other things that you're struggling with. We would be happy to talk about those as well. So let's just jump into kind of what the application is. And I thought it would be helpful for one of the workflows to talk about the processing of incoming inquiries, right? So I suspect a lot of the individuals that are on the call today have an existing form that's on your website. It may be a Google form or just a quick sort of information about for you to collect. That typically generates an email, and then it's kind of up to you to handle the information from that standpoint on. So you might have to re-enter that into another system. For with Event Guru software, we like to refer to what we do as managing the life cycle of an event. So everything from taking inquiries to processing payments. So there are a lot of steps that are in between, but really it starts with what we're looking at here, and that's your inquiry form. So this is just a basic example of what an inquiry form would look like. We're capturing some information about the event. We're getting more information from your customers about what the event is, when they're going to hold it, how many attendees. So it is a way to help you in managing that. Here at the bottom, you'll notice that you have the ability to ask additional questions. It's really helpful to qualify at this stage of the game to make sure that, you know, what they're looking for is going to be a good fit for what you're offering. And so we have a very flexible form that allows you to ask those additional questions to just help the process and gather more intelligence so that you can provide the best service possible for your customers that you have. You'll notice there's a send request button at the bottom. This does a couple things. It starts the workflow, generates an email to you so that you're notified that you've got a new lead that's come in through your online inquiry form. And this form can be embedded into your existing website. So keep that in mind as well. We're not here to necessarily change everything that you're doing. We want to sort of complement that. And so this is just one example of how that happens. The other thing to point out is with this form, the information that's provided actually creates, and we're logging into the system. If you are a user, this is our dashboard. It creates an event record. So what's nice about that is it gives you the ability to kind of pick up the inquiry that you've received and run with it. You don't have to worry about re-entering the data. All of the information that gets added as part of the form actually creates an event record for you. So nothing gets lost in translation, which tends to happen, believe me, when you're on the phone. You're maybe not getting the correct address, or potentially you might miss a key bit of information. The form eliminates that, right? It gives the ability to make sure that information is accurate, that your prospects can reach you 24/7. You don't have to worry about missing any potential leads that you're getting. And then all of that information gets automatically mapped to an event record, which is even better, because then now you can kind of take it and start to manage that information. So that's kind of one way to that will save you the time of processing the data, right? So right now we found that a lot of people are getting the email, but it's kind of hard. It's kind of one of those things like, I'll get to it when I have time. In our case, you don't have to worry about that because your event has already been created and set up in the system. Cool. All right. So that's kind of a description of the workflow. Let's talk about collecting payments. That is always a challenge for the venues that we work with and the campuses that we talk to. It's a lot of the check is in the mail kind of a conversation, right? With Event Guru, we have a customer portal that you can set up. And that customer portal will give you the ability to not only share information with the customer, but it also gives you the ability to do things like collect and process payments through the application. So this is another great feature. What this means is that your cash flow is going to be working immediately when it comes to them making a payment. The money that is submitted, whether it's through a credit card or an ACH, automatically goes into the venue's accounts. So we're not collecting it. We're just kind of the bridge between your customer and you getting paid, the venue, in a way that's secure and convenient. We work with a variety of different gateways. Clover Connect is just one of the companies that we work with. It's a Fiserv system, but we do work with gateways that you may be familiar with, like TouchNet, Authorized.net, Bluefin. We've also worked with Transact Campus or CashNet. So if that is something that you're familiar with, or maybe you've heard of, the good news is that we've already have that relationship established, and that means that we've gone through the what are the hoops that you have to jump through, and kind of the protocol that's set to make sure that we're established and the process is seamless and secure, which is critical, obviously, when it comes to processing payments. So when it comes to the payment aspect of it, we've got you covered there as well. Again, one less thing that you have to worry about. What about documentation? So one of the questions that we had up that people were wanting to streamline or automate is billing and contracting. So we talked about the billing side of it, but what about the contract side? You have in our platform the flexibility to build out templates that you can share with your customers through their portal that will really kind of put your best foot forward, and also make sure that your terms and conditions, or what may be maybe more of an agreement, are easily transferred and, again, convenient and accessible to your customers. You don't have to worry about sending anything out, because now you can just say, we're send you an email, click on the link, and you'll be able to access your proposal. You'll be able to review it. This is just one example. You could have something that's more formal. So let's say that you wanted to include more of an agreement that has your terms and conditions. That's also something that you can do. There's no limit to the number of templates that you build out as a venue. You can have as many as you'd like. We typically see at least two. With a lot of our customers, we see what I would call more of a proposal type template, like we're seeing here. And then the secondary kind of example that we normally or typically see is more of an agreement. So it's more of terms and conditions. But you'll notice that here at the bottom, I have the ability to, as the customer, accept the terms and conditions of the proposal. So again, reducing the what is a lot of back and forth and dealing with customers and them saying, okay, well, we need to make a change. They have the ability to say, we're not ready to agree to the proposal. It will notify you via an email as well as in the dashboard to say, hey, this particular customer is has a question, and you're not kind of waiting weeks to finalize it. It can all happen immediately, which is ideal. Ultimately, you want to collect what would be the deposit as quickly as possible, right? So we're doing that with this portal and definitely saving you a lot of time and energy when it comes to managing that process.
Hey, Mark, we have a question.
Great,
Is there
wonderful.
a capability to link with DocuSign?
So that's a great question. We have started the conversations with DocuSign, and they have an API, which is basically just a way to integrate with products like ours. It is something that we are looking into. And for what it's worth, there would likely be a cost if you were to use kind of a DocuSign integration, just because it would be a DocuSign type agreement that would be a part of the setup. So I don't know if it would be hugely expensive, but if you already have an agreement and you're already licensed with DocuSign, then it probably would be minimal.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So as far as the customer portal, those are kind of the key things that I wanted to touch on. Again, hopefully you can start to see the time that you'll be able to save by sending them, your client, an email and saying, this is where you can get your information. This is where you can make the payment. This is where you can view and assign documentation that we've set up. They will appreciate it because you're making it as easy as possible for them, and will translate into faster conversions and collecting payments quicker than maybe you been able to do in the past. So one other thing I wanted to point out as well is, and this is again another time saver. So within our application, you have what essentially are reports. So as you're creating events and booking resources, you'll have the ability to basically see what is going on within the system. It's all live information. So with our licensing agreement with our customers, you get unlimited user seats. So you can pretty much invite anybody that you would like to participate in the system without having to worry about paying extra. I know a lot of the other software systems out there charge more of a user seat type fee, which can get costly if you've got a few people on your team. In our case, you don't have to worry about that type of a restriction. But when it comes to the reporting, an aging report is probably something that you all have to deal with on a regular basis. What I wanted to show is just number one, the ease of being able to run reports within the system. So this is a date-driven report that outlines each customer, their invoice information, and then as well as how much their outstanding amount is for that particular event. So it makes it very easy. Our reports can be printed or exported out, or in this case, you can export it to a CSV if you wanted to do some further editing outside of the system. The other really nice feature with the outstanding aging and invoice report, you can actually set it to automatically go out to whoever you'd like to get it based on a daily, weekly, or monthly occurrence. So we're trying to help our customers kind of save time, also to be able to share the information that is so valuable that is collected within the system as easy as we possibly can, and automate a lot of that process for you. All right, so let's take a look at a specific event record. When we talk about that life cycle of the event, it really kind of has a number of things that are going on in the middle, and those things are would be consist of things like booking spaces, potentially booking food or meals. If you offer housing at your venue or campus, doing room blocks and managing your overnight guests. So this system, when we say it's one-stop shop, that is what we're talking about. The ability to have the system manage all of those resources for you so that you can provide a fully set up event summary for your customers so they can see everything that's going on, as well as an invoice that has all of the charges on it. So your customer has no question about what is happening at their for their event. So a couple of the things that I'll point out, you have the ability to set up and book your resources in the system. So if we were to add a space, it really makes it very easy. The look and feel of the system actually just went through a redesign. So we've spent hundreds of hours of time to go through. We worked with a designer to make the application look and feel natural so that you're not sort of missing a step in the process. So in this case, you can see very clearly all of the available rooms. I can search. Maybe there is a specific setup that we would need to get. So if we're dealing with a wedding reception, you can see by typing in a few words, it will provide me with a quick at a glance match of any of the spaces that you offer that have that type of seating style. Again, just trying to help our customers very quickly find the information so that they can go through and reserve that item as part of their event. We also recognize that the space is one thing. There may be other resources that you have that you will need to incorporate. So during the implementation, which is something that we'll talk a little bit more about, we'll collect the information from you. So your event space information, the rates that you charge. You may have other items that you are offering as well. So in this case, you can see from the drop down, we've got a variety of things that are available, and you can basically go through and say, okay, based on that item, I can go in and charge a custom rate if I want to, or just let the system kind of pick the specific rate that's already set within the application. But you can see the various categories are available. The system provides an inventory management. So if you try to exceed what is a certain number of items that are set within your system, you have the ability to get notified by the system automatically so that you don't over book certain items that you have a limited quantity of. The other thing is, if I look at the initial booking that I have, we have as well as a room diagramming tool that's built into the system. So for those folks that need kind of that visual representation of what this particular event is going to look like for your customer, as well as maybe your maintenance and setup team, this is a great feature that you can definitely use, and it's super easy to learn. It's really just drag and drop is what it comes down to. So if I'm going through and kind of moving tables and chairs or pulling in additional items, it's just a matter of grabbing it from the inventory and dropping it over onto the screen. And you can share this. It can be printed as a PDF, and you can send it off to your customer so that they have a good idea. So it's avoiding that whole there's a surprise when they get there and they're like, this isn't what I expected, right? We're trying to eliminate any of those last minute surprises. So this is a great tool that will allow you to do that. That's built into the application, and it's super useful and friendly. The other things that the system will do is allow you to do meals. So we have essentially two different version of or options, I should say, when it comes to meals. We have our dining, so a breakfast, lunch, and dinner type situation where you can assign a particular meal type to the group while they're with you. In this case, we've got a group that's eating with us 3 days. Let's say that you've got a more formal event going on. It's more of a reception, weddings, or just banquets. Our system allows you to import your entire menu guide so that you can very quickly pull and pick the item that the customer wants, and it will automatically show up on their event summary. So, and you can also modify the menu at any point in time as well. So, ultimate flexibility when it comes to that. Food is interesting because it's always changing when it comes to the season. Your customers' tastes are obviously specific, so you want to make sure that you have a tool that can kind of adapt to those different scenarios or use cases that you're going to be getting into. And this system will definitely help you with those use cases. I mentioned for those that do housing, I don't know how many of the folks that are on the call today do that, but you do have that component that can be turned on. You can do room blocks and you can do rooming assignments. So for those locations that have overnight rooms, keep that in mind. This can work almost like a front desk system where you've got people that are showing up and you have the ability to not only import their information in, but you also have the ability to do things like check in and check out the guests so that you have an accurate account of who's in house, when they got there, and then ultimately at the end of it, when they've left. So again, accuracy is key, and this will help keep all of that information for you so that you don't have to worry about guessing about, well, how many people stayed with us. And when it comes to the invoice, that's critical. We work with a lot of customers to start out with that are taking their information from what is a calendar or emails that they've collected over months and months and months, and then trying to create an invoice from that information. That is a very tricky task. Definitely room for error when you're dealing with that. With our application, you don't have to worry about that because every time that you book an item, a space, a podium, a meal, the invoice automatically updates. So it's up to the second accurate information, and you can very easily get your information to the client via an email, or if you have them in front of you, print it off and hand it to them. So there's a variety of different ways to get them the information. You're able to go in if you've got the portal active. The credits and payments part of the invoice will automatically get updated as the customer makes payments. So it saves you the time of having to record a payment. However, if let's say that they're sending a check and you get that in the mail, then you're able to come in and update the invoice accordingly so that you have a record of what it was, when it came in, and how much was sent via that particular payment method. So again, it gives you the ability to keep track of that and make sure that your uh, information and your numbers are accurate. From a bookkeeping standpoint, this can get very daunting, very easy to miss charges. And unfortunately, what we see a lot is that there are a lot of payments and money that's left on the table, which again, totally understand when you're dealing with it and working with a manual type of business process. Um, and so that will all get tied up and allow you to make sure that the information that every penny's accounted for, and then you're also collecting all the payments that you need, and all the charges are accurate when it comes to the invoice. All right. So if I just dip back into the event, I also wanted to point out the event summary. So this is where the information about the event will start to collect. So now you have a very clean and sort of organized document that you can share with your auxiliary departments, support staff that you're working with, so that they know what they need to do. So you can see, for example, any of the additional notes that have been entered in will clearly pop up on the summary so that they know what they need to do, when they need to do it. In this case, the menu that we talked about that's showing up under your catered meals. When it comes to your dining services, this will list those particular items that in a way that make it very clean and clear to your customer. And then in the example that we gave, we did have a room block. So it shows whatever the per person per night rate is, and then the charges that are associated with it. And then you can see here at the bottom an outstanding amount. Again, very easy to share with your team, including just a quick send from an email perspective from here. You can update and change the email in case there's someone else that you need to capture this or have this information. And then again, you have the unlimited user seats that will allow your team to get access to the system as well. Okay, so some of the other things that I want to point out, the control panel, this is where kind of your admins will get set up. When I talk about unlimited user seats, you can come into the application and set user accounts up at your convenience. We would actually go through that and include that as part of your training and onboarding. All of your rates and information when it comes to your charges are stored in here. We talked about the different templates that you will be able to build out. So for example, here's the template that we were showing, or a different template that's available for you to pick from, that you can very easily, using what is a WYSIWYG editor tool. Again, very user-friendly, very easy to pick up, and super valuable for your customers when they are interacting with that. The other thing to point out, we recognize that your department does depend on other individuals to make sure that an event is successful. So when it comes to sharing information, right, one of the things that we offer and is included, I should say, with our license is a external calendar view that is live and up to date with the information that's been entered into your platform. So this will give your security department or your facilities and maintenance the ability to very quickly see what's going on, whether they're looking at it by day, week, or month. You also have the ability to change what we're seeing in the calendar. So one of the new features that we added is the ability to update the calendar view based on what we call event types. So if I'm really just interested in anything that has to do with the community, you can see I can keep that checked and then all the events that are listed here are the community events that are important to what I'm interested in learning more about. We've also, when we talked about the registration service, one of the things that we've just recently added to the application is the ability to connect the calendar to the registration platform to make that seamless. So if you've got an event that has a registration component to it, from here, your customers will be able to connect to that particular registration very easily. So just one more update to the system that we're making, and we're constantly updating the system. We're probably right now sending out updates and upgrades to the application once every 1 to 2 months to give you a sense of what that's like. All the updates and upgrades that we do with the newest features all come from feedback that we get from our customers. So our team, which is a great team and very knowledgeable when it comes to technology, maybe from a doesn't have that user viewpoint, and so when we are looking for new features, we're basically letting our customers drive that part of the process. And it's exciting because our customers get to see things that they've requested come to fruition very quickly, and really sort of strengthens the relationship that we have with our customers, because they obviously see that we're serious about keeping everything up to date and adding features that are going to impact everyone that's utilizing the system. So one of the things that I wanted to point out, so this is just one of our customers, which is Hobart William and Smith. I don't know if anybody's familiar with this particular college, but it is located up in the Finger Lakes of New York. Beautiful part of the country. And they were in a position where they didn't have a dedicated app system to help with their department in managing conferences and events. What was interesting was but they were also tasked to grow their conferencing business. So they ended up looking for a tool to help in managing their operations. And fortunately, we were the successful solution for them that kind of matched and checked the boxes that they had. What is really interesting is that, and I'm not saying that this is the case for everyone, but the amount that their business increased after getting the application was 300%. Now, that is pretty phenomenal when you think about your what you're doing and kind of how a system like this does impact your operation. I think there were a combination of things, to be quite honest. Obviously, the system had a lot to do with it, but they also started to do more marketing and selling. So one of the things that I would definitely recommend everybody take a look at is one of our other services that we provide through Unique Venues is a marketing and lead generating service. So they took advantage of that as well. So it was a combination of a variety of things, but it just goes to show you what's possible when you get a system in place. We've also done some research with our customers and discovered that typically they see about a 10 to 20% improvement in productivity once the platform is in place and fully adopted. So it's something that you can think about when it comes to your return on investment type conversation that you might have. We've also seen that event coordinators are saving approximately 6 to 8 hours per week after the application is running at their venue. And how that sort of is measured is they're no longer rekeying requests into multiple systems. And we're also seeing that, when it comes to approvals, what took days for them to put through is basically happening the same day when it comes to that kind of process. So definitely gains in a variety of different areas that you'll get. I talked about accuracy. Obviously, with a system like this, you'll see an improvement in accuracy significantly when it comes to invoicing. I think that, like I talked about before, if you are sort of manually managing your invoice step, um, that is definitely challenging, and there opens up a lot of opportunity for missed charges. And so once you've got this application in place, you'll be able to benefit from the additional charges, which is interesting. They've always been there, but at least though you'll have them on your invoice and not miss them, which we've tend to see when it comes to a lot of the schools that we've worked with. So that being said, were there any other questions, Kelly, at this point, or did anybody have any questions that they wanted to submit?
There's no questions just yet, but if anyone has any, please feel free to type them in the chat.
So one of the things I wanted to bring up as well is implementation. So that's always kind of a hot topic when it comes to looking at adding in a new application at your venue or your campus. And so the typically the what it takes when it comes to implementing a system like this really comes down to the scale of your venue or campus, the size, right? So depending on how many spaces that you have or how many menu items that you have, the different rate pricing models that you have. Those are all things that can impact the amount of time it would take to implement a system like this. So on average, we typically see an implementation take anywhere between 1 month and 2 months, just to give you an idea. Now, it could be less than a month if it's a smaller venue. Obviously, it could happen very quickly. If it's a larger campus, then you're looking at a longer period of time. There's more people that you're working with or counting on to get maybe the information. So there is kind of a little bit more work that's involved. And by work, I mean, conversations that you're having with other departments that might be involved in the process. So, but you get a dedicated project manager from the start. So the good news is that you have somebody there to kind of hold your hand along the way. We set the process up and run through that with our customers. And then ultimately, we're here to help keep things on track. So we do our best. Now, there are obviously situations where maybe beyond our control that it does take a little bit longer, but that's unusual when it comes to this type of application. The only other thing I would say is, when you are having conversations about making this transition, think about what would be a good time of year to do it. Working with schools that are going into the summer months, we recognize that's a busy time. So for that type of use case, typically what we would see is that they would avoid that and ultimately either do it in the spring or fall. When it comes to other venues, spring seems to just be a busy time for special event venues. So potentially just finding a good time, whether it's towards the end of summer or even in the fall, that's something that we would recommend. Ultimately, we're here to kind of help you make those decisions. We've done this many times, so we can definitely work with you to hit your goals and the timelines that you've set when it comes to getting the system up and running. All right. So as far as kind of next steps, so let's talk a little bit about that. So for anybody that is, that has more questions, let's say, and maybe didn't want to bring them up today, definitely reach out to us. My email address. Feel free to reach out to me if there's anything that comes up, or if you wanted to take a deeper dive, we can definitely schedule what would be more of a tailored session for you and your team. We're happy to do that as well. And as far as kind of some of the specials that we're offering right now, we are running a discounted rate through the end of April, and any new customers that we get signed on to the Event Guru application will get a 10% discount off of their first year, which is pretty exciting. So keep that in mind as well, depending on your timing and your priorities. But there's an incentive there that could be of benefit for anybody that's ready to move forward.
Mark, we have a question that just
Yes,
came through the chat. Do you have a price range?
we do. So typically what we see is on the smaller end of the scale, if you want to call it that, you're looking at starting around $5,000. And then it goes up from there. And the only reason I say that it goes up from there are other factors that come into the conversation, including what would be additional integrations or custom development that might be needed for certain situations as well. This is an out-of-the-box system. So what that means is that everything that you've seen today, you will get. So there's nothing that we've pointed out that is extra. That's the other, I think, really beneficial aspect of what we do as a company and what we offer. Because we definitely hear stories of getting from different customers talking about getting nickel and dime for, this feature or that feature, or this user and adding another user, that kind of thing. You never have to worry about that with us. And you basically get everything, including with an annual fee, the maintenance and upgrades that we talked about earlier. Speaking of upgrades, we're obviously, as a technology company, our roadmap is very important to us, and kind of looking down the road at new features that we're working on. One of the things that we are set up and looking at adding include the ability to do improving the booking process. We just added new functionality when it comes to recurring bookings. So let's say that you have a space that you've reserved. A lot of the venues that we work with need to do a recurring booking. So every Tuesday and Thursday for a month, for example, or every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for a semester. Our new functionality allows you to do that very quickly. So you have the ability to go in and say daily, weekly, or monthly, and then set that up so that the system will book those for you. So we've improved this and made it much faster, which is pretty exciting. And we've also incorporated communication elements that will notify the logged in user when the process is finished and completed, and let them know if there's any conflicts or how many were actually successful. So we're trying to provide full transparency when you're doing a process like this. It can be very tedious. There's a lot of room for potential schedule conflicts. We've taken the time and the energy to make this process very easy and user-friendly, so that you can rest assured that when you're doing this kind of a step, it will definitely help you manage those types of bookings that you might be seeing on a regular basis.
And then we have one follow-up question.
Yeah.
What is your typical annual fee?
So typically, on average, it's around $5,000, and that includes like I said, all of the features that we're looking at today, as well as unlimited user seats. Okay. We do typically set up on an annual basis, so it's like a year-to-year situation. We will also we can also talk about if it's month to month. if that's helpful. And we can also talk about multi-year opportunities, which can also help with the cost as well.
Okay. And is there an initial setup fee, or is it just the $5,000 each year?
Yeah, that's a great question. We typically charge a one-time training and onboarding cost that is approximately $1,500. And we will do what is essentially up to three training sessions. Typically, it's virtually, but if there are venues that would like the team to come and do the training on site, we can do that as well. There would just be additional cost for travel that would be included in part of that option. But the training and onboarding is like I said, a one-time fee. We also do additional training for any of our customers that maybe have a new employee that's come on board. We can also work with you to do that as well. You would get two versions of the system, and by that I mean there's a sandbox or staging version, and then there is a what is it called, a production site. And essentially, you've got those two versions. You can use the training or sandbox for the training aspect for new employees. That's one thing we have seen in this industry, and I'm sure everybody's going to be nodding their heads. I can't see everybody, but when it comes to just turnover of staff, what we found is that this system is really great at adopting or adapting to situations where you've got your new people coming in on a regular basis. We found that people tend to pick up the system very quickly, so you don't have to necessarily fret over what may be a revolving door when it comes to staff and having a new system or having them learn how to use a system like this, because it's just, again, something that we've taken from conversations that we had with our customers and build it based on their specific needs and how they do their business. And so a lot of this is reflected in what we're seeing today.
Okay, perfect. It looks like there are no remaining questions. With that, I think we're safe to conclude here, Mark, unless you had anything else to add.
No, I would just say if there, like I said, if you want to get more information and take a deeper dive, reach out to us. We're happy to set up and schedule a one-on-one. If is interest in some of the other services that I mentioned, Registration Guru, or unique venues services that they offer, whether it's your profile and getting that set up and helping to reach planners to book more business, do not hesitate to reach out to us. We will definitely put you in touch with our best people and walk you through some of those other options that are available.
Great. I want to thank you, Mark, for presenting today, and thank you all for attending. I will be sending this webinar recording out to everyone later this afternoon, and I will include Mark on that email, so you'll have his email address if you are interested in learning more or getting started. So we will get that out to everyone. I want to thank you all and have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.